Welcome to another exciting edition of the Beepball Blues Show with Neil Dog and Bam Bam. We are back here with episode number 113, Seth Dog. 113, sounds like a big number.
Ah, man, 13, my lucky number. That's my lucky number. But I like the deepness and the richness you put in your voice. I think our guest might have inspired you, Neil. I noticed a little bass in there. I don't think you want to be embarrassed when when the man comes on board.
Even though I'm gonna be the only white guy here. I don't want to sound like the only white guy.
Yeah, right.
I want to sound like Barry White.
Hey,
I'm going down.
How low can you go? Sweet high. Okay. All right, we can just sit in.
We're already off track. So far off track.
Okay. People would find this entertaining. It would be no problem, filling 4 hours worth of their time, man. Just
wouldn't be a problem. I don't know how entertaining it would be, but it wouldn't be a problem. We easily could talk for 4 hours. But anybody knows us knows that part. I'm excited. We got our boy, our little brother, Big Lex. Lex Gillette, man, the author, world record holder, 4-time beat baseball champion, Lex Gillette. What up, Lex?
Man, I'm good. What's going on? Hey, I'm glad that you said that because I was listening to the World Series. It wasn't this past year. I want to say it was the year before last. And not to call out any names, Kevin Simpson was talking about some of the great dynasties of the World Series. And he mentioned Austin. I think that was the 90s. He mentioned Indy, who the young guns right now, apparently. And he talked, there was another team that he spoke of, but in that grouping of teams who had three-peats, he did not mention the West Coast Dogs, and I felt mad disrespected from that. But yeah,
hey, can't be surprised though.
Well,
you can't be surprised, and
he said,
as you should.
He should have mentioned that.
Yeah, you should feel offended at that. There's no,
and I get it. Like Indy Thunder, you got the young boys. I think Eric.
No.
You're so far out of the loop,
bro. I am. So correct me. Correct me. I'm missing.
They've all broken up. The Thunder dynasty ended at 5.
Okay, I'm misspeaking, but at the same time, that's not my purpose. Is saying that we were a dynasty as well, and we should have been mentioned in that conversation. I get it. They're out here speeding around and stuff like that, but there were speedsters during my day as well.
Actually, you know what? I've never thought about this before. I think the Dogs are the only team that have won, because you mentioned specifically doing a three-peat. I think the Dogs are the only team in NBBA history ever to win 3 in a row 2 different times.
Yep,
from 99 to 01, and then from 08 to 11, they won 4 in a row.
Right.
So,
and I don't even, and the crazy thing is, I don't even know if he mentioned that first stint from 99 to 2001. And I get it, Neil. I know you said, am I surprised? Whatever. But at the end of the day, hey, give us some respect out here, man.
Hey, and the Dog, those were like even different teams, man.
Yeah.
It was like I mean, I don't want to say we rebuilt ourselves because I didn't quite make it all the way, but those were different outside of Eric Mauser.
When he was saying that, I was thinking I needed to dust my cleats off. Get back out there.
Talk. You're as bad as Neil, man. Hearing Neil.
You're gonna let me get away with that one
for 15 years, man.
You're not gonna let me get away with that one, son?
Okay, all right. You guys both fake, man.
All I really talk about is going back. I don't talk about playing too much.
But you've been talking
Although
about
I could, Lex. Yeah. I'm in good shape, Lex.
Hey, but
you could go do it, baby.
Yeah, right. You guys could get on the old timers team.
You sound. Hey, I still got the speed though. That's the crazy thing.
Well, I would hope you're an Olympic athlete. I would
Yeah.
hope you got the speed.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you,
I
like
was-
30? How old are you, Lex?
Bro, I just turned 38 like a few
Oh
months ago.
no,
Yeah.
you're 38, Lex.
Yeah, bro.
No
You remember me?
way.
You remember me when I was 18?
Yeah, right, Lex. I can't even imagine you're 38 years old.
First time I
That's
met
crazy.
you, you're just coming out of your junior year of high school. That
Oh,
when I was
Yeah.
out there in
dude,
Carolina
Lex
for that
is
tournament.
38 years
Yeah.
old, dude.
No, I was
Ah.
thinking about that getting ready for this show. Like '03 was the first year he played with us, and
Yeah.
it's 2023. Like that was
Oh,
20
geez.
years ago, man. Thinking about that all the way around with you, Lex, like
Yeah.
with your track career, and beat baseball wise also. That was 20 years ago when we
was.
brought you to the World Series, man.
It was a time I'll never forget.
This is Lex, man. Lex Gillette. He's a man now.
Get out.
Hey,
Damn.
Hey, I mean, we're going to be kind of all over the board, and we
Yeah, so
definitely
was
want it.
Yeah,
Lex has a new book coming out. It's going to be dropping
What?
on March 7th.
Dude, is it a mystery? Is it what
Suspense
type?
thriller?
Yeah, suspense thriller, a horror flick? What kind of book is it?
Yeah,
Lex?
now the subtitle is What Blindness Can Teach Us About Risk and Leadership.
Oh shit.
So yeah, I
Okay,
kind of
okay.
the first one, because I think the last time we were on an episode together, the first one was out, which was Fly,
Yeah,
subtitle Find Your Own Wings and Soar Above Life's Challenges. And that was more so a read for, anybody. If you're 10 years old, you can pick it up, read it, get something from it. 51 years old, pick it up, read it, get something from it. And so now, given all of the speeches and spaces and places where I'm traveling, this one was more so connecting with the audience members that I tend to speak to a lot, which are managers, leaders, the executive leadership team, C-suite, whatever, and being able to use stories and experiences that align to the things that we experience in and around the personal and professional journey. So it's still like I definitely don't think that I wouldn't classify it as a business centric book per se. But it is trying to help people transcend beyond what they see in front of their eyes so that they can achieve their personal and professional goals.
You've thrown out your subtitles, but the actual title, your trademark.
Oh yeah.
You don't need sight without a vision.
Yeah, no
Right.
need for sight when you have
No
a vision.
need for sight. Sorry,
Yeah.
my bad. No need for sight.
With the copyright sign at the end. Don't forget that. Yep.
It's been Lex's trademark for you. What year did you get that trademark?
2000 well, I started using it in 2008, and then we trademarked it in 2013 officially.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, talk about like what brought you around to doing another book and what your goal with this book is.
I always knew I wanted to do a second one because again, the first one I was just trying to get my feet wet. It was new. I knew that I wanted to do it. Even, like as a child growing up, I used to write a lot. I have my old Perkins Braille writer, and I would put the Braille paper in there, write my little short stories, and I had this idea that I would be an author one day, a writer. And the one thing I'm kicking myself about to this day is a lot of those things that I used to write growing up. I don't even know where they are anymore. And not to put my mom on blast, she's like one of those people where it's like, oh my gosh, like what is this? Is this trash? Like you need to put this there, put this there. So some of the stuff like I threw away myself. Some of the stuff, I ain't gonna say she threw it away, but it mysteriously got legs and walked off somewhere. And
I'm not gonna have you badmouth your mom on this.
Oh
show.
man, I love my mama.
Just gonna be clear.
I got you. But yeah, I lost a lot of that stuff, but I don't know. It's just interesting how we go through life and grow up and evolve, and the things that we used to do as children, they tend to pop up in different ways as we get older. So
Hey, I always admire you people who like to write. I write too, and it's always a chore for me,
Well, I think that like I
man.
used to write a lot because when I was going through that sight loss process, I think I was just dealing with a lot of insecurities around like verbally communicating. So, just wondering about like me being blind or like do my eyes look weird or just all types of insecurities around blindness. So a lot of times, I wouldn't just like not speak or anything like that, but I kind of would stick to the background a lot and observe and listen and things like that. And me being able to write.
That's the you I totally remember. Like when I went out to North Carolina and
Oh
met you
yeah,
for the first time,
yeah.
like pulling words out is like talking to Trajan now. Like it was not easy to
Yeah.
get you to talk back then.
Hey,
Hmm.
hey, no, don't be
Yeah.
silly
So I'm just
like
trying to
crazy.
learn,
No,
like
I'm
I'm
just
trying to learn the climate. I'm trying to learn the environment, who the people are. And I mean, come on, Neil, it's you. Like I step into the circle with you. I got to sit back and kind of figure out what's going on here.
Yeah,
'Cause
Neil's a different one. I mean, I'm more like you, Lex, where I'm not like socially like that. I'm like, man, I can kind of chill.
yeah,
But Neil always blows me away because he just jumps in,
in your face.
talks. Yeah, it's like, hey, oh, hey, how's it going? I was just like, man, how do you do that, Neil?
You know what's
I
ironic though?
admire
Like
that.
I know both of you are right. Like I could jump in anywhere and talk with anyone pretty much about anything, whatever. I'm comfortable there. But I am more like withdrawn also than like the two of you. You know what I mean? Like when I go disappear into my little cave, I go deeper than you guys. Like I remember for Lexus quit call me. Lex used to call me for all the time. I'd never get back to him, and not because I didn't want to talk to him or anybody else. I'm just not I keep to myself a lot. You know what I mean? But I am once we're out in the world. Once I'm forced out into it, it's weird how I can flip the switch and just kind of socialize with anybody.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I always remember being at your parties, at your Christmas parties, and I would always be off in a room somewhere. It's like, man, I can't be around all these people. But their Neil Dog would be, man, lead the pack, man. So,
Yeah. But
but Lex, so man, tell me about the book, man. Give me a story of blindness that relates to leadership.
blindness that leads or that relates to leadership. I would say that I feel like a lot of blind people have a driving story. You got that one friend who's like, all right, I'll let you drive my car. And so I have one of my friends in college who his name is Josh. And so I remember coming back to the apartment one day because we were roommates. And excuse me, one of those situations, walking to the apartment, oh man, what's going on? How was your day? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And somewhere within that conversation, I hit him with the, let me drive your car. And so he's like, there's no way this is going to happen. And I'm pestering him like, man, come on, let's do it. Like I got it planned out in my head. Let's do it. Boom, boom, boom. So we go outside and there were four of us who lived in the apartment. It was me, him, his girlfriend, and a fourth person who was part of the quartet. And instead of us, you know what? I won't even tell that part. So we got the car. I want yeah, because I want you to buy the book. So so we get into the car and we find like this empty parking lot and we're driving around. He gets into the passenger side, of course. I'm in the driver's seat. And I just remember how invigorating that experience was, pressing the gas down and pressing the brake. And he's telling me to, in 3, 2, 1, turn the steering wheel to the right. All right, turn to right, 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 right. Okay, straighten it out, straighten it out. Okay, come on, press the gas. And there were times, like at times, I wasn't really pressing the gas because I was scared. And he's like, "Come on, man, don't be afraid of it. Just put some mustard on it." And so I say all of that to say, as we think about leadership and working with businesses and things like that, just this idea of like having a genuine connection with other people and people who are acting as your eyes if you will. And a lot of times we find ourselves in a situation where looking ahead, it is difficult to see literally and figuratively. But when you have that genuine type of connection with other people, they help you to see beyond what you thought was previously impossible. And in that time that Josh and I were in that car, he made me forget that I was blind. And I know, both of you not being able to see, I'm pretty sure you can think of individuals in your life who they just never really thought about that. The only thing they were focused on were helping you to see your potential, realize your potential, and helping you unleash that potential into the world. And at the end of the day, I just think that's the power that exists within, that lives within all of us. You have the ability to, transcend beyond what it is that is, current reality. And once you evolve and get to those spaces and places, that's when we're able to make great leaps and bounds into these just amazing areas of life that previously you might not have envisioned.
Damn, Neil, you've let me down as a friend, man. You were supposed to take me to new heights, Neil, dog. Come on now.
I've let a lot of people down. You're just one more on the list. Just when you're talking about that, like any of us who are blind, I think, can kind of relate to what you're just talking about. I know for me personally, like who I hang out with and who I don't hang out with has a lot to do with like how I feel like their comfort level is with my blindness. You know what I mean? Like when you're talking about like you like that whole experience, like your friend wasn't treating you like you guys were just figuring out how to do it together. It wasn't that you were blind or whatever, and he didn't make you feel blind while doing it. And like that's a big thing for me. Like people who I guess when I feel like some my blindness is at the forefront between me and somebody, it's hard for me to really like connect and have a really good friendship with them. I always gravitate to people, and this is kind of like with the beepball team. All of our beepball teams, like our spotters and our pitchers. You know what I mean? The sighted people that are involved with our teams, they don't make us feel like blind. We're teammates. You know what I mean? We're for the most part. I'm not saying it's a perfect whatever, but for the most part, those are the people that work with our teams in general, not just the dogs. I'm sure it's the case with every team out there. Like, the people who like, the blindness is like in the forefront of their mind. They're not going to stick around because it's just an awkwardness that you don't want to live with. You can tolerate it, you know what I mean, for short periods of time, but it's an awkwardness you don't want to live with. So I could totally relate to what you're saying.
Man, heck yeah. Like I was going to say that too, because thinking about working with Greg Parr for the first time, being back at home in North Carolina and having him ready pitch. Did I get it, Neil?
Yeah, that was pretty. Sounded a little bit too excited though.
Too excited? Okay. Yeah, because he is a little boring.
A little.
But like hearing that for the first time and like swinging a bat again, because I played rec league baseball prior to losing my sight. So after I lost my sight, to find something like beat baseball, that was incredible. We had our practices Wednesday nights, and of course the North Carolina South Carolina League is totally different from the World Series in the sense of rules and how it's played and things like that.
But, we don't have no rules down in the South Carolina.
When they had to, because I think at that time our bases with their 90 feet from the from home plate versus.
Who are you saying when you say our? I assume you're talking about Carolina.
NCSC, correct.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what it is right now in the NBBA. Is it still 100?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So 90 feet. You give me 90 feet, and I was 15, 16 years old. Oh man, I was There like you had to be on your P's and Q's if you were gonna get me out.
Not only that. Something I loved about that league, especially once I got to know you, Lex, is in the North and South Carolina League, you could have a pinch runner. Like,
Right.
Yes.
so
Right.
these fools, and like the same person could
Talk
run.
about it.
Yeah, the same person could run for multiple people, and they played with seven. They played with 7 players. Lex would run for himself and like 2 or 3 other
Bro,
people.
hey, at 16 years old, bro, I had all the energy in the world. All right, I'm batting like, we have 7 people, so they're gonna put me in like batting number 4. So I'm running for number 1. I'm running for myself at 4, and then all right, got to give him a little bit of rest. Let me get him at batter 6 as well. And like they're the Glens of the world and the Albert Robertsons, all of these people who they would hit the ball and lift it into the air, and that's all I need. Bah, 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 boom. There was no way that you were gonna get me out. Um,
Lex was
so
like his own relay team.
yeah, right.
bro,
Out there running all day.
Make
yeah,
them have to go back to home plate, man,
oh
to
yeah.
make it fair.
But I mean, the biggest point, circling back to the initial point, working with the Gregs and then, the Timmys and, like you, Neil, Seth, and the Mikey P's of the world, Eric's, everyone, again, like like blindness never really entered into your mindset because you had all of the resources, the people, like they knew what you were capable of doing. They knew what you could do. And it was just, all right, we're trying to get out here and get some W's. Like, we're trying to get this championship. So it was man, I miss Beepball. I definitely have moments where I sit down and I'll daydream like, man, I remember 2010 hitting that game winning run to win the title. I remember 2011 when I did it again, Kevin.
That is impressive that
Yeah.
for people that don't know, like you scored the walk-off run in back-to-back championship games in 2010 and 2011. I mean,
Couldn't do it without the team.
just getting that opportunity like that doesn't come along very often for hardly anybody. So getting the opportunity at back-to-back years and coming through is very impressive.
But no, in all seriousness, yeah, no, I mean that Beepball space, man, that was man, it's something that I miss. There's a lot of learning that goes on out there, and it's something that, for those who still play, man, enjoy it because it's remarkable. You learn a lot, you got a lot of fun, and hopefully you'll have the opportunity to be one of those fortunate teams to make it to the top. So
Let me ask you about that. We were just talking. I mean, you're only 38 years old, and you train all year round at the Olympic facility down in San Diego. So obviously, you're in great shape. Do you have thoughts about returning to beepball?
I thought about it. I definitely have thought about it. So as it relates to the track and field piece, of course, the question is, all right, well, when are you going to hang up your shoes? And the Paralympics are next year, 2024. I always had committed to 2024, largely because LA in 2017 or 2016, 2017, I was on the bid committee. So Los Angeles was bidding to host the Olympics and Paralympics in 2024. And I was actually hoping that they would get it then because that's the perfect, like, all right, that's my 6th
Perfect
games,
exit.
curtain call, put my shoes beside the long jump pit, beside the track, and, it's a career. But unfortunately, excuse me, they chose to have Paris in 2024. Personally, I think it's because the last time Paris hosted the games, well, the Olympics, was in 1924. So it's the 100-year anniversary, which,
Oh, okay.
and LA was selected for 2028. So I had always told myself, all right, there's enough in the tank to get to 2024, and we'll kind of see what happens after that. I would like to go until 2028, but I mean, I'm gonna be like, my birthday is later in the year, so the Paralympics will happen. I'll be 39. I'll be able to do what I need to do physically, barring any sort of injury. Knock on wood, that ain't gonna happen. But we'll just kind of see what happens after that. But to answer your question, I do think that uh, there still is some passion there to potentially compete. Um, I just want to make sure that I'm in a position to do so because I don't really. My goal is to not step into something and to figuratively speaking be a lane filler. Like I'm trying to go
Yeah.
out there and I'm trying to win. So
On your run through the Olympics, because you know, being part of the U.S. team, and also need to add in there that you are a member of the Olympic Committee for 2028, correct?
oh yeah, I'm on the LA 2028 board. So I'm a part of the LA 2028 board and I'm also a part of the LA 2028 Athletes Commission. So just for those who might not know, the Athlete Commission is comprised of 9 Olympians and 9 Paralympians who serve as advisors, if you will, providing guidance and input as to, how we want the games to look
Right.
from every single angle, spectator angle, athlete angle, everything. Um, and then of course on the LA 2028 board, that is, us looking at how everything is being engineered from all of the executives and staff and making sure that we are ensuring that these things are being taken from the start and going taken across the finish line.
That's impressive, though. I mean, in the end, when you consider all the people that are involved, you know, to
Yeah.
be selected to be part of that, you know, should be considered a big honor. On your like training and everything, because you know we've talked about it. You're 20 years in now, and you do other events, but your main event is the long jump.
Yep.
So how, like physically, how are you feeling as far as like where you're at with your long jumping? Is it more of a grind now? You know, trying to get those hops at 38 years old.
The hops are always there. Um, the hops are always there, and that's certainly not to be arrogant or anything like that. I just think that
Do,
oh no, it's just like we
hey,
all have.
does age affect like? I mean, is that like something like you can see a runner
I would
slow
imagine so.
down at a certain age?
I would imagine so. But I think that like you see it within the LeBron Jameses of the world and the Tom Brady's of the world, where they obviously have access to resources and things that we might not have access to, given their the levels that they've gotten as professional athletes.
Right.
But my point in saying that is the evolution of science and different rest and recovery methods and things like that have helped to help to extend my career, and also just from a personal standpoint as human beings. Like you think about self-control and things like that, where you understand that as you get a little older, you can't stay up as late as you might have been able to stay up in the past, or you might have been able to eat the McDonald's and show up to practice the next day and knock out 6 200s or 12 100s, whatever it is. And so I think that as we get older and you look at the landscape, you just have to understand that there are certain things that you can do at this stage, and there's certain things that you can't do. And you got to be serious about that, because if you're not, as soon as you step on the field of play, you will be exposed.
Seth and I are still trying to learn that. McDonald's is still our breakfast of champions, you know.
Hey, and the ironic thing about that is, so I rarely ever eat McDonald's here in the States,
Right.
but when we travel abroad, that's when McDonald's we consume it sometimes, because like you'll be in these different spaces and places, and like the food isn't what you're used to
Right.
Yeah.
back at home, and you find those golden arches and that quarter pound, that Big Mac, hey, the Big Mac tastes the same that it does in San Diego, you know, that it does in Tokyo or in Athens, Greece. So
You know, it's weird. My experience, I mean, I've only traveled out of the country once when the World Series of Beep Baseball was in Taiwan and back in 2000 is the only time I've traveled overseas. And I remember going to both the McDonald's and Burger King during the time I was there, and I thought it tasted weird. Like it wasn't it was I mean it was
what?
the same thing, but it tasted different. I remember like I don't remember really being I don't remember specifically what I had at the McDonald's, but when we were leaving, the day we left at the airport, they had a Burger King there, and we all went in there, and I grabbed a Whopper, and it tasted like all peppery or something. I just remember it tasted like totally different. So
I think like with McDonald's that I've gone to overseas, I have enjoyed those more largely because here in the States, you go through the drive-through, or if you're inside of the establishment, you ask for a double cheeseburger, quarter pound, or whatever, and it comes out super quick. Whereas when we went to the McDonald's in Tokyo, and not most recently, the most recent games, but we had like a competition out there a few years ago, and we ordered the food, and it was like a
like a
kind of
restaurant,
like,
you had to
yeah,
wait for
basically,
them
yeah,
to
like you
make
had to
it.
wait for it. You got
Yeah.
the little buzzer and stuff like that, and you know they bring the hamburger out. It's piping hot. I was like, oh man, this is fire. Like the burger was bomb, fries were good, everything. And so I don't know what it was about that. I know that we have the FDA here, and of course other countries have their agencies, et cetera, I think. But it just seemed like it just tasted better.
This is again where my experience was totally different. Now, the one I most specifically remember was that Burger King at the airport. So I realize airport food is always a little
Always
different.
Right.
Yeah, it's always different than regular. But the Whopper I had came out of this warming tray that had like 20 of 100 other Whoppers in there. Like you didn't even go up and order it. You just walked up and picked it up
Oh,
out of
really?
this warming bin. Yeah, took it up and paid
Yeah.
for it.
That's funny.
Oh, that's crazy.
So
And
my experience totally different than yours.
right. And the other like ironic thing is that excluding Tokyo 2020, those first 5 games, McDonald's was a worldwide sponsor. So when we showed up to the games, we always expected to have McDonald's inside of the cafeteria that was inside of the athletes village, and you didn't have to pay for anything. So you could go in there, you could get like, all right, let me get 2 double cheeseburgers, Big Mac, large fry, and they would have like interesting. They will also have interesting like side items. So I think when we were in Beijing for breakfast, they had like you could order oatmeal. They had like sides of fruit, and for dinner time they had cup corn, and it was like the items were just totally different because over here I don't know if you can get vegetables at McDonald's, but
Potato? What's that? What? You don't like potato? You too good for a potato?
No nutritional value.
Right.
Oh man, through all that travel, because beyond like the Olympics, you've been to so many different like world events, world competitions, whatever. Do you have a favorite spot that you've traveled to?
Favorite spot, Barcelona, Spain.
I've heard
Barcelona,
that place
Spain.
is beautiful. I'd like to go there sometime.
Yeah, Barcelona, Spain. It is. So we went, just to give context, we went in like the latter part of May. So it was during competition season. And so a lot of times when we go overseas, they like to couple or combine multiple events together so you won't have to travel over to Europe for one competition and then come home. So we were on this stint where we started in Barcelona. We traveled to Rome, Italy, and then we left there and went to Paris, France. So we had 3 competitions. Barcelona was the best. We were there latter part of May. Weather was amazing. People are nice. Transportation is easy to use. lot of touristy areas to go and explore and embark upon. I was there for competition, so that I won the competition, so that was obviously good. And yeah, it was just an amazing experience. I would recommend it to anybody.
Yeah,
I've never been overseas. All that stuff sounds great, man. Barcelona. How close was that to the running of the Bulls? When did they run the Bulls, right?
I don't even know. The only thing I'll say about Barcelona is that um it is totally true. Around like noon, 1 p.m., city shuts all the way down. You hear about the siesta and things like that, and it's just like, oh, okay, all right, they rest, they get their naps in. That is a real thing. So we were walking around, like competition is over, and we're walking around like, all right, man, we're about to find something to eat. And the place literally is shut down. So like from
at
one,
lunchtime,
bro, from
can't get
one,
lunch at lunchtime.
It's
Bro.
not lunchtime, American.
they
It's
don't, I don't
siesta
know.
time.
It's not called lunch over there. It's called sleepy time. Like they went from 1 p.m., 2 p.m. until around like 6 p.m., 7 p.m. And 7 might be stretching it a little bit. So I'm gonna say 6. You are not going to like, you're gonna have to search high and low to find some food publicly. And so that was the only thing.
That's kind of a trip like from a tourist standpoint, because those are like hours when people would normally be out. You know what I mean? If you uh, uh, fly all the way from like America to go learn about a country, like those are the hours when people are most likely to be out doing
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, you better had gone to the grocery store and gotten your snacks and sandwich meat, cheese and stuff like that.
Hey, what
'Cause
better way to learn about the culture than finding out what the culture does and being
right.
hungry?
Oh yeah,
That's
exactly.
fair.
Engulf yourself in the environment.
Yeah, right. Adapt or die, baby. Adapt or die.
Yeah. But nah, it's an amazing place. I'll definitely recommend going to Barcelona for sure.
Dude, do you ever travel overseas for non-competition, just to hang out?
Not well, I went to Italy one time with my college roommates. So we met up in Spain, or not Spain, I'm sorry, I said Italy. We went to Italy, um, and
I was like, man, I'm bad with geography,
they're
but
right.
I don't think that's
Hey, they're not too far away. But
it.
so we all met up. I actually had a competition in Manchester, England. And so I left Manchester, flew to Rome, and met with my college roommate. So circling back to that story around Josh. So Josh was there, his girlfriend was there, and our other roommate, we all went to Rome together and did a Rome/Florence trip for about 6, 7 days. So that was a lot of fun. I think that's the only trip that I've taken that was non-competition. Well, let me take that back. I did fly over to Manchester by myself I did a speech over there one time. And that was interesting because that was the first time I travel a lot domestically by myself. That was the first time I took a trip overseas by myself, for a speech specifically. And it was I kind of felt weird inside a little bit because I was like, oh man, like I don't have any of my teammates here, and this is a different experience. But I had a lot of confidence going on that trip, given the fact that I was going to an English speaking country. Like if that was,
Right. Yeah.
if I
Right.
was being flown out to, Slovakia or something like that, I would have been like, I need an escort. I need an escort.
Overall, like when the World Series was in Taiwan, we all got by pretty well. You know what I mean? We were able to go into restaurants and order stuff, but like I was relying so much on the people around me who could see, like pointing at pictures, in the menu, stuff like that. I would be so intimidated to like go all that way by myself.
Right.
So I mean, I could kind of relate to what you're
Yeah,
saying, but I still, even like going to, an English speaking country, that probably felt
it was
pretty
still different.
intimidating.
Yeah, no, it
Had to
was
be hella
definitely.
cool though to be flying to another country to give a speech, like a big shot.
Yeah, no, that was dope. That was dope.
You ever
But
been to the motherland?
bro, never, never. They've sent me everywhere but to the place where I'm from. Like, I need to, I definitely have to, I had an opportunity to, um, go out there last year to, it was actually South Africa, but that opportunity it didn't prevail. But,
Right.
we have, let me see, it just passed actually. So we have these Grand Prix races, and they just introduced this new location, which is in Morocco. And I always told myself, oh man, I want to go there.
Right.
And a lot of these places, I'm trying to hit them while it's on somebody else's dime. Like, like, yeah, I love to travel and stuff like that. But, um, whenever they send us to these places and they send us our flight confirmations or hotel confirmations, you can see how much it costs. And so I see, the price of the flights. I'm like, I don't know if I don't know if I'm
Right.
gonna do this just on,
Not recreational
right.
activity.
Um, unless I really want to go there.
All right.
But yeah, so there's a Morocco stop, which I want to say they just had that competition or it's coming up here soon. And I'm not in a position to go out there and compete at a high level right now. And then there's another stop that I don't know if they have it this year actually, but for the past few years, it was in Tunisia. And I always told myself, oh man, let me go ahead and see if I can go out there and compete. So long story short, no, I haven't been out there, but I gotta get out there because that's the only continent that I'm lacking with the
Yeah,
exception
right.
of Antarctica.
All right.
Our boy has some travel miles built up.
All
Yeah.
right.
Got some travel miles built up. I want to mention again that we got Lex Gillette here with us because we're promoting his book that's coming out on March 7th. No need to have sight if you have a vision. Got it
Yes,
right
no
this
need for
time.
sight when you have a vision. Yes.
Yeah. When you were talking about kind of the goal of the book, or what the goal when you're putting it together, it reminds me a little bit of it's like a much bigger version of like the emails that you sent out, being part of your email group. When you send out, yeah, just I got one today. When you send out your emails about what's going on with you, it's not just like about all your training and all that stuff. It's more than that. Like you tie it into life experiences and life lessons, I guess is actually more what I'm thinking. The title of the email that came out today was action. Your actions speak louder than words, which is something that is very true or whatever. But I guess I love how you don't just like you're not just sharing with people. It's not a journal about all your training. You're tying in your training to life lessons a lot.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
think I think the in my mind, the reality is a lot of people will be interested in what is going on from an athletic standpoint, but the brutal reality as well, the opposite side of the coin is some people they just might not care about sports and athletics. And that's cool. Like that's totally fine. We all aren't built to be athletes and we all won't be athletes. That's totally fine. But I think that the qualities and characteristics that exist within all of these things that we embark on, those are the things that connect us as human beings. And so, using the example that you just gave, talking about actions, that came from when I had first started to compete in track and field. And Mr. Whitmer, as Neil Dog
Mr.
likes to say,
Whitmo.
Mr. Whitmo, Mr. Whitmore, Mr. Whitmo got me into track and field. And so one of those first competitions that I participated in, it was a struggle. And competing in the long jump means that you have to run down a narrow runway toward someone who is clapping and yelling. giving you an auditory reference as to where you need to run and jump from, and you're counting your strides at the right stride, the right step, you jump, soar through the air. And from there, you praying that you're gonna land in the sand. At that particular competition, there was a lot going on. So there were those how you walk into the bank and they have those stanchions that kind of guide the lines from start to where the clerks are. So you're weaving in and out. And we had a stanchion that lined the side of the runway to protect the athletes who were competing in the long jump from the athletes who were on the actual track competing in the sprint events. And I just couldn't get it together. I was running into that. There's just a lot going on. And so there's this person off to the side in the stands like, oh, what's going on? Like, this guy's gonna kill himself. Like, he's blind, da 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 da. And so Mr. Whitmer, he was the one who really encouraged me to keep going. And he said, you know what, this is a part of the journey. There are going to be people who are going to, they're going to be naysayers. And I'll use the analogy of, gravity. So when I run and jump, I'm flying. When we think about gravity, that is us being locked and held down to the earth. And a lot of people who are out here hating and they're naysayers and don't believe that you can do this, that, and the third, and they believe that you should and should do not, they think that you should and should not do certain things. They are gravity. And he was the one who helped me to defy that. And so per that email that went out, it doesn't matter what people say. They might say that you can't do this, you can't do that, but your actions should always say that you can. Get out there and forget about what people are saying. Don't fall into the pushback and the resistance that they might give. At the end of the day, you decide what it is that you can do, and no one else. So I just always try to make sure that my actions align with that. And you always hear it, talk is cheap. At the end of the day, you can tell me this, you can tell me that, but if your actions don't align with that, then I'm probably going to have a difficult time believing or kind of getting in line with what you're saying.
And again, beyond that's just like good life thinking,
Oh yeah, for sure.
beyond being an athlete, training for anything like that's just like I don't know. That's what I was saying. Like I love the way you tie like your training into little life lessons or whatever.
Yeah.
So people do get on Lex's email list. He doesn't send out a lot of emails, but they're always thoughtful when they come out. Check them out at lexgillette.com. Man, give them all your stuff, your Instagram. Where can people
everything
follow
is
you
Lex
up?
Gillette. You basically did it. Lex Gillette, LEX. Everything is Lex LEX Gillette, like the razor, GILLETTE.com. Lex Gillette Instagram, Lex Gillette TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Yeah, I'm very, very creative. Lex Gillette.
Very
It's
easy.
repetition.
Like
It's repetition. It's good good advertising. To keep
Right.
it simple.
Right.
I shouldn't ask you this in front of everybody, but when once we get the show edited, I'm sharing the YouTube link and stuff. I always put a description. Can I throw in the promo code for people to buy to get
Oh yeah,
order
give it
the
out.
book early?
Yeah, give it out. I would also say, I mean, given the the audience, it is definitely, so the book March 7th, it'll be out. It'll be available electronic, paper, and hard book. But I am in the process of securing the resources and things that I need to record the audio version.
Very nice.
So if that is something that you are wanting, um, you know, you can buy the hard copy if you would like, but the Audible version is going to be available as well. So I can provide that information once it hits the wire.
Read by Lex Gillette.
Yes. Yes.
Oh
yeah.
Are you really gonna read it yourself?
I am going to, yeah. Yep. So I got somebody printing it out in Braille right now because I still love my Braille. And yes, I'm gonna read it and and we'll have it
See,
uploaded.
Neil, when are you gonna be able to read Braille like that, man?
Never at this point, but I'm totally I'm totally impressed by that, man. That is way cool.
Bro, it's hard.
I want to say her name is Molly Burke. There's
Oh
a
yeah,
blind, yeah.
yeah.
She didn't she read her own book, her own
That I'm
audio
not
book?
sure.
I think so, but if I have that wrong, apologies. But I think she read her own audiobook in Braille, and man, I can't read Braille fast enough to ever do that. But I
Hey,
think that's
Neil can't
cool as
even
heck.
read Braille fast enough to order a meal at a restaurant.
No, that's fair too.
Screw it. Just give me a bacon cheeseburger.
Yeah, always go with the easy one. Hey Lex, man, our last episode, there's a new team out of Oklahoma, called the Oklahoma Lookouts. This is going to be their first year.
Is he pitching for them?
Timmy's go pitch for them.
Oh,
But you know who's on their team? He was on the show with us. Is David Gwynn. You remember him playing with us
David
back in
Gwynn.
06, 07?
David Gwynn. That name sounds very familiar.
When we made it to the championship, he was part of the group that came over from Oklahoma when we kind of combined our two
Yeah.
teams. But man, when we made it to the championship game in 06, Gwynny started up in front of you. He was playing short right field for us. He brought up a big play he made in that championship game behind him. Ball got snuck by him, and Big Bad Lex came and saved the day behind him.
I remember. Was that Cleveland? Were we in Cleveland that year?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I remember if you got really good contact on a ball, it was gone. Like it was zooming.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Those fields were the worst fields ever. We were playing on concrete.
Yeah.
My body was beat to hell by the end of that tournament.
Yeah.
I think about like that tournament, our journey to get to the championship game, I think is one of the most difficult ever in the history of the league. Mostly because, through 2005 we had the consolation bracket and the championship bracket. And in 2006 was the first time that we switched to the format that we go by now. And eventually, after two tournaments, we needed to switch it to a 5-day tournament because it was just too many games for a 4-game tournament. We played 11 games in those 4 days that year. And we would have had to play 12 because we were the team that went into the championship game with one loss. To win the championship, we would have had to have played a 12th game, man. We played 11 games in those 4 days on those concrete fields.
Did we play Taiwan or did we play Kansas?
Yeah, no, Taiwan.
It was Taiwan.
We played Kansas in 07.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember I was playing Bam Bam spot, I think, in that championship game.
I don't even remember.
I think so. Yeah, I think
deep right field.
I think that game I had played in the left side for some reason. But the real point of me telling this story is I just remember they were smashing that ball and they were coming left and right. And I was like, yo, like I'm literally moving, but this ball is moving just as fast, if not faster than I am. Yeah, man, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I told Davey like that 06 year is my most like proud year or whatever, just because of everything we had kind of against us, and we were still kind of new as a group together, and for us to roll through the championship game, that's my proudest year as a player.
I'm glad I was there with you, Neil Dog.
Yeah, right. And that was one of the things that was against us. You in the hospital, like honestly, man, when you were in the hospital with the meningitis, like your life was imbalanced. You know what I mean? It's like I know you know that better than anybody, but like you're our, we're family, man, and we're there like having to deal with the damn tournament, these games. We weren't even getting back to the hotel till like 8 o'clock at night because the games were going so long and on these fast fields, man. And it's like all the time we're just getting like updates on where you were at with your meningitis. Like it was such a wild tournament, man. That's why I feel so proud that we fought our way through it the way we did.
All right.
How many, like, what's the landscape of the league right now? Like last year, how many teams entered the World Series?
17.
17. Okay,
Yeah,
so it
it's
wasn't like
been which was kind of low. Like coming out of COVID, it's taken teams a while to get back
get
going
back.
again. But the tournament had been pretty solid, around 20 teams every year, leading
That's what
up
I
to
was
COVID.
thinking I had heard.
There were 24 at the 2015 tournament, largest tournament ever.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really good.
You got anything you want to throw out there before we pop out of here, Lex?
And hey, for any of those teams looking for a player post 2024, you know, I ain't gonna.
Dude, Timmy will
Uh,
jump all over
oh
you.
yeah, of course
They're
you.
looking for
Hey,
players in Oklahoma.
hey,
He'll take all three of us.
post 2024, you know, the dogs will be up and right. Not the dogs 2.0.
Dogs 2.0. Nah, man, I just think that you know, definitely appreciative of the opportunity to get up here and, you know, kind of talk about the book and things like that. But I just think as a spectator right now and kind of seeing how the league has evolved. The last time I played was 2011, so it's been 12 years. But to kind of, you know, be in the background, seeing how the league has evolved and, you know, more teams are playing and it's really, really competitive. Like that's really cool to me. Um,
You know, we have a lot more crossover athletes, like kind of like you or whatever. You know, like Zach Bueller, who was on the Olympic goalball team, plays with the
yeah,
Thunder, and then with the blind soccer getting so
yeah,
much
yeah,
more popular. Little Ricky Casanita is you know, member of the Jets, and he is on the on the Olympic team for the blind soccer. Noah Beckman is on there. He plays for the Chicago Comets. I believe there's one other player whose name I'm drawing a blank on. So that we have more. Even though there are a lot of people, like, you know, back in the day or whatever, like Seth and I both did play goalball and beepball. Not a lot of people were doing, like, you know, playing beepball and being part of the Olympics. Like Danny Fapiano being on the Olympic goalball team was kind of a rare thing or whatever. But there are more people now that are kind of in that same boat that you were in when you were playing, you know, doing both things, track and
yeah,
beepball, trying to balance this stuff.
yeah. No, that's cool. I mean, you got some talented athletes in the NBBA. So certainly not out of the realm of, you know, that's to be expected. Like, there's some
Yeah.
Yeah.
freakish athletes that play beatball. So to be able to use those skills in another sport, I'm pretty sure USABA is happy, you know, from a goal ball, blind soccer standpoint, and, you know, any other sports organizations that some of the athletes in beatball might be you know, participating in. So
I think so,
um
because I mean, they even moved around some goalball tournament. USABA agreed to move around some goalball tournaments last summer because they were crossing over with the Beat Baseball World Series. I thought that
mhm,
was really cool.
yeah. I mean, it's like it's not surprising to me because, you know, like over the years, I've seen the athletes who participated in track and field, and they might have come from like wrestling in high school, or, you know, the athletes who had a certain level of eyesight might have played basketball or football or whatever. So they've always been out there, but I think that you know, it's 2023. Things have evolved and gotten a lot better, and resources are there. So you're seeing you're just seeing the athletes getting out here and having the opportunity to cross over into these other areas. Whereas for years upon years, for the people who have eyesight, um, you know, you play basketball in the, or I'm sorry, you might play like football in the fall, and then that kind of crosses over to basketball, and you have those
Yeah.
athletes who just so happen to, all right, boom, now the football is over, I'm about to play basketball, and then in the spring you basketball to track. So these multi-sport athletes who we've seen, is now, you know, you're seeing that within the blind and visually impaired community, which that's super dope.
And I mean, there's literally science now that shows that it's better for the body, like to have the multiple things that you're doing because you train differently. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? It's a better balance for the body rather than just doing the same thing over and over.
right. Oh yeah. A lot of times in track and field, what you run the 100, you compete in long jump, you running in a straight line, right? Whereas football, basketball, soccer, tapping into that lateral movement, beat baseball, it's lateral movement. It's a lot of stuff going on, spinning
Mhm.
around, and yeah, it's just it's different. It's different.
Well, man, I reached out because, like I said, we had the Oklahoma team on the last episode, and Tim and Dave were talking about you. And then I saw that you got a new book coming out. I was like, man, time to bring our
They
boy
were
back
talking
in.
about me. What'd he say? I hope it was something good.
Yeah, no, Dave was just talking about you gloving balls behind him out there in that
Oh,
championship game, man.
yeah.
The big plays you
I need
made.
to. I want to find. So Steve Garrett has sent me a copy of it might have been the 2010 game, I believe, and the 2010 championship game we played Taiwan, and I just remember being out there in the outfields. I'm playing right field, and there were a couple balls that had come out there, and I'm grabbing them, but apparently it was right at the time that the batter was hitting the bag, and Blue, he was giving them the run. I was like, come on, Blue, come on now, like this can't be right. And so in that like the top of the sixth or whatever it was, the final inning, somebody smashes the ball. And I remember when I heard the contact, I was like, all right, you gotta go. So boom, I start going back, and at the point where I think the person hit the bag, I had just put the ball up, and Blue was like, out. And I was like, yes, that's what I'm talking about, Blue. You finally gave it to me. I did it. And that's what brought me up to that to the plate for that last run. But I point all of that to say I think about Beepball a lot, listen to some of those clips and things like that. And yeah, man, I definitely attribute my time of playing with you both, and Mike and Eric, Timmy, Greg, Bill, just everybody, John Pop,
Miss me
every
some
like
John Pop.
definitely has
Maybe get John Pop on the show one
man,
day.
right? But all of those times, man, it's been really beneficial to just growth and development as an athlete and as a person. So, man, y'all got to keep beat ball alive, keep it going.
Definitely. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's been fun to watch you grow up. I know you're like a full grown man now and all that stuff, but it's hard for me not to think of you like the skinny little high school kid I met 20 something years ago. But I don't know, just hearing you say your age, it's like, wow, how's that possible? Kind of like what we were talking about with Trajan growing up or
Right?
whatever. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm proud of you, man. Everything you've done. Yeah, it'd be great to think that Seth and I have been mentors for you, but you surpassed us so long ago, at least me.
Oh, man.
I can't put it like that, but I'm proud of you, dude.
No, I appreciate it. I
Proud of
appreciate
you,
We
that
man.
for
love
sure.
you, Lex.
Man, I thank you.
We
Hey,
always saw it in you,
and
Lex.
I
We saw it
always
from the
like,
go.
and as much as like things have changed specifically around, athletics and
Right.
opportunities that I've had, the platform has grown, but I always, as a member of the blind and visually impaired community, where I can be that voice for us as a group, like that's huge for me. That's important for me. So, um, just always know that you all are always in my
Hey,
mind,
what you're
always.
trying to say is you'll never forget the little people. Right?
Never,
Don't
never.
forget the little people, man.
You know,
Yeah,
it was in a totally different environment, but Seth and I just recently were involved in like discussions, kind of about the blind community and us like mentioning that like we're proud to be part of the blind community, like took some pushback, right, Seth Dog?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It took some pushback. It's like, what do you mean you're proud to be blind? I
yeah,
understand you being proud to be black, but how can you be proud to be blind? It's like, man,
yeah, yeah.
I'm a
For those,
proud
for
member of the
those who
blind
know,
community.
know.
I'm not ashamed of it.
Uh,
Right.
for those who know, know, and for those who don't,
Yeah. No
you'll figure
teaching.
it out. Hopefully.
Never. All right, Lex. Hey, Lex, always in our heart, man. Your family. We don't talk for a year until fantasy football, but no, we're always family, Lex.
I
You
appreciate it.
you don't even do the late night text with Christina anymore.
I was just
though,
gonna
man.
ask that.
Oh, because Chris is she's too busy for me. Yeah, she's too busy for me now. I was gonna say, hey, the next time I come up there, we got to go to Round Table. Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
realize that was a thing for you. I always remember when Lupe Perez played with us. Like every time he came out here, it's like, we gotta go to Round Table.
Yeah.
I don't remember you being a big Round Table person. They don't have those down in San Diego.
They have like one, I believe, one that I know of.
All right.
But I was exposed to it when I was in Northern Cal. So, but yeah.
I don't know about Seth. He's not as big a pizza guy, but you could always talk me into some Round Table, Lex.
All right.
Always
Hey,
talk me in.
Can't
It's funny though that Seth, you brought up him late night texting with Christina, because I was thinking about, I went for my walk before we did the show. When I was out on the walk, I was thinking about you and I, like when Lex first came on the team, man, little 17, 18-year-old, we go to a board meeting, we go back to your room, and here's Lex hanging out with your lady.
Hey, at 12:30 in the morning, man.
Yeah, like it'd be late at night. Little boy should have been in bed already, past curfew, hanging out with your lady.
Hey, morning, lunch, day, night, it all looked the same. I didn't know it was 12:30.
Well, everybody go follow Lex, man. Look up Lex Gillette, just like the razor, Gillette.
Yeah, man, that don't help. I don't know how to spell the razor when you say that, just like the razor. I don't know how to spell Gillette, man.
Yeah.
I'm a non-reading braille blind person, man. I can't spell a damn.
Yeah, when I say that outside of the blind community, people, they get it. Yeah. And you know that I will say this. So I had this was last year. I did a speech in Boston. And so I get to the hotel. Okay, what's your last name? I said Gillette. And I'm just expecting them to know how to spell it. She's like, well, how do you spell that? And I was like, I thought the Patriots play here. Like,
like the razor, man.
all of that. But yeah, no, I thought that was pretty funny. Like, literally, come on. Like,
yeah, right. Every time I hear that, like the razor, it's like, man, I couldn't spell the razor if you gave me $20, man.
I'll throw the title out one more time. No Need for Sight When You Have a Vision. It's dropping on March 7th. When I share the show this weekend, I will share the link where you can go do your pre-order, put in your promo code, get 10% off on the book, and we will hook you up. Lex, thanks, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Always.
Love
I
you,
appreciate y'all, man. Love you too. Love you too, Bam Bam.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
I was drinking, man. I was drinking.
Dude sounds so uninterested.
Yeah, right.
Oh, who was that?
I was drinking out of my Willamette.
I
started to try to talk, for all the people who are watching that Willamette football. Hey, Bearcats. Oh, do the Bearcat Rumble.
That's funny.
Yeah. But all right, Lex, we will talk.
That was it for this episode. Thank you, anybody and everybody that checked it out. We will be back around in a couple of weeks. Thank you, Chris Jackson, for helping us out. Thank you, Frank Porter, for getting the YouTube stuff all together for us. Thank you, Lex. Thank you, Set Dog. And we will see you all next time.